struggling with touchscreens yet again. So this is my first full video of a quickie with Jules, which of course is for the Volkswagen Tayron. You would have seen that quickie. If you didn't, obviously click on the link above. For just a quick overview, this is now when we take things a little bit more slow. I'm so sexual. But I am very excited to actually have this car for a little bit longer. But before I get into it, Tayron already obviously on the Hippo website. So I put my details in with this car and out popped my cheapest quote, which was 798 Rand with an excess of 9,500. But put your details in, see what the cheap quote that you can get will be. And then tell me what it is in the comment section below and let's compare. I like to do that. So remember, this is the Tayron, not the Tayron, even though it is spelt T-A-Y-R-O-N. Okay, it's like tie, like you tie a tie. You know, Tayron. It is confusing, I realize. But wait, there's a little bit more of a confusion here because, so you get this in 5 and or 7-seater guys. Now, it does replace the Tiguan Allspace, right? But like the Allspace was actually just a Tiguan on an extended wheelbase, this is more of a standalone car. Although this is based on Volkswagen's MQB Evo platform, an extended version, which is the platform for the Tiguan. Guys, I have reread and Googled and whatever. I think one needs to be an engineer to understand that, but either way, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is that this is a little bit bigger than what the Allspace was regardless, okay? And it sits above the 3rd generation Tiguan and below the Touareg, that's how I say it. And offers customers that sort of little bit more space than what the Tiguan would be, and of course, not as expensive as a Touareg. So you get the base model, which is the 5-seater. Then you get the life model, which is 7-seater, which is this, and then the R-Line, which is also a 7-seater. I'm in the life model. I'm going to assume, okay, it's not the R-Line, but it's got a lot of optional extras that do sit on the R-Line. However, regardless, from base upwards, it's actually very well spec'd. Which I know kind of sounds unusual for VW in a way, because not that they're not normally well spec'd, it's just that there's always optional extras and almost always packages that you can add. So you've got this 12.9-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which is, again, everything's in it. The graphics are amazing on it. It looks beautiful. It's a touchscreen. Again, I don't love them, but it is quite intuitive. I think there's just some things that, again, bother me, like when you want the climate control. Though you've got them down here, it brings up a climate control screen. I always just want it in a button that I can use, okay? But it's fine. It's fine. People get used to that or whatever. You do also have the haptic touch thingies, whatever here, for like the temperature and for the volume. That's volume, if you didn't know. You've also got a big volume knob down here. Okay, which then you press it and then it turns into the driving modes that you can choose between. And then there's also some atmospheres, which are just like for shits and gigs, I feel. But this has got 9 airbags. It has a host of safety features. It's got this very nice, neat digital instrument cluster. And then it's got a 10-color ambient lighting, whatnot, you know, again, for just like a little bit of fun, I think. Now, the R-Line adds things like a Harman Kardon sound system, which is why I know that this doesn't have that. A tilt and slide panoramic sunroof, which this does have, so this would be optional. But I hate a sunroof, so I would never put that in a car if I can help it. Like now, do you know how hot it is? Do you know how hot it is today? And now I must have this beaming in here. Even though the aircon is lovely, let me tell you, that is hot to have above you. It also adds another 20 colors to the ambient lighting system, making it 30. It's got more safety features on the R-Line as well. It's got 20-inch alloys. And then also in the back here, which this does have, it's got that like tablet support thingy. So you can put like your Kindle or your iPad or whatever on there. And there's got extra cup holders in the front. Very handy to have, I think, especially if you've got kids and you want to entertain them. Now, the practicality point of view is probably my favorite thing to talk about ever, but in this specifically now, so with all the seats up, okay, all 7 seats, you've got 345 litres of space still, which is like 115 litres more than what the Allspace would give you. Then if you pop those 7 seats down, you get 850 litres of space. If you don't have the 7-seater and you've just got the 5-seater, then you get 885 litres of boot space. Guys, all of that's bigger than the Touareg boot. Okay, talk about practical, which I love. But here's the thing, and I say this now often, okay? The 7-seater, the 7 seats, right? The very back row of seats. Gee whiz, women, get it together. The very last row is always built for children and or small animals who have seats for themselves, like Archie does. Okay? Do not mistake yourself or fool yourself into thinking that adults can sit in the back. They cannot, or they can, they're going to be very pissed off with you. So bear that in mind. So for me, I'm always going to say buy a 7-seater if you don't need a 7-seater, because I love the amount of boot space it offers. Like this, you could get a 5-seater and then you've got that massive boot. In fact, it's bigger. Perfect. I love that this gives that option. But I also like the 7 seats. So sometimes I just want the one up that I can put Arch on there if he wants to spare and I've got someone else in the car. So he has his own seat, but then there's still all that other space. And they're very easy to put down, very easy to put up. Overall, it's a very effortless car, actually. It's one thing that VW, I think, is always known for. Almost and always pretty faultless in most ways. Okay, I lie. There is a fault to the Tayron, and it is one of the safety features that isn't exclusive to a Tayron, but it is the emergency brake, where if you're reversing and it detects something or whatever, or the car just brakes as if you've hit something. My nerves are shot. It's happened now 3 times in one day. Honestly, it would be the thing that I'd need to rip off. I need to rip it out of this car because I can't handle my nerves. I cannot handle it. And the thing is, what bugs me is it's like a car guard who's trying to help reverse you, and and then it brakes because it thinks you're going to drive into someone, which is great for a safety feature, but most of the time I'm not going to drive into someone like that. And you just give me like a signal instead of like braking, like I've just like hit my head on the blimmin' windscreen just about. So that is a fault. Okay, and I had to just put it in there. Okay, also, actually, there's 2 other little tiny things that I keep forgetting to mention. One, I've struggled to pair my phone. And the other thing is that whenever I turn the car on, it goes to the fan speed is set at 5, so it kind of blows me away. And then I have to go in and change that. There's obviously a setting that I've done that I don't know how I've done, but anyways, very cool if that's how you always want your aircon to be when you get in the car, but I don't always want it to be like that. So I'm sure there's someone to change that, but it's just learning the things. So this is powered by a 1.4 litre turbo petrol. It's got 110 kilowatts of power and 250 newton meters of torque. It's mated to a 7-speed DSG, which is a brilliant combination. And I know that you're thinking, oosh, this isn't powerful enough, but it actually is. Even though this is heavier than what the Allspace was, it's just so easy and refined. You can overtake with ease. It can maneuver with ease. It's got beautiful road manners. It handles beautifully. Again, it just drives like a Volkswagen, and so it always feels so solid, so comfortable. And I think just in general, that fuss-free family car drive that you want to need, that you're going to be in and out of the car, driving here and there, pop, tap, 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 tap. That's like my whole life. In and out, in and out, in and out, drive here, stop there, park there, whatever you want, easy. And that's what this is. And it doesn't feel like you're in a very big car. Like I feel like I'm in just like this cool little SUV, forgetting I've got all that space at the back. It's like a Mary Poppins car. Now, we don't have a diesel, unfortunately, because our fuel is too filthy. But we are looking at potentially seeing a 2-litre turbo petrol coming next year, one with potentially mild hybrid technology, which would be great. Also with the all-wheel drive 4Motion. So those options will be great for customers. On a fuel consumption point of view, I've managed to sit around 6.7 up to 7 litres per 100 k's, which I think is fantastic for the size of this car. And so imagine popping a little mild hybrid in there. Mild hybrid. Mild hybrid in there. That'll be even better. Okay, let's just speak about the contentious issue here, and that is the pricing. Okay, so this kicks off, the base model kicks off at about 812,000 Rand, and it goes up to sort of 900 for the R line. The in-between model, which is this Life 7-seater, is at around 854 without any optional extras. I don't think that you need to add many optional extras, so you could sort of keep it closer to sort of 850. Now, you cannot ignore the fact that you can get yourself a 7-seater for almost 300,000 unless in the form of a Chery Tiggo 8 Pro 8, Chery Tiggo 8 Pro, or like the Juliet X70. Like, there is just other options out there. I get it. So don't come at me about the price. I didn't decide on the Volkswagen Tayron price, okay? But I can understand where it's at. You're still getting a lot of car for that money. I have spoken about other cars that are about that price, and there are not as much car for that money. You're also getting brand strength like you cannot believe, which in turn also means incredible resale value, which is something you need to consider for yourself. If you're going to have a car for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, that's fine, okay? But if you're going to have this car for like 3 to 5 years, for instance, you have to consider resale. This will retain its value far more than a lot of its competitors in the Chinese market will. It just is what it is. So really think that through. Also, of course, you've got a very, very strong dealership network, a very sort of strong after sales and parts plans and service plans and whatever. All those things that you've known and loved about VW for so long still exist. However, I know that people only pretty much consider price these days. So I get that. Like, I get it. You can say, like, you know what, I'm not going to buy that because I can get this for this amount of money. That's fine. But don't be a hater on a car because it's not as cheap as some of the Chinese products. That's not a reason not to like a car. Because this is an excellent product. It's a great product from Volkswagen. It always is. I just wish we could make it cheaper. Can't deny the build quality. I love it.